Okay, you're on video.
All right, is the microphone on again?
I believe so.
All right, next up we'll have our admin assistant.
You need to come out of non-public.
Oh, that's true. Make a motion to come out of non-public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pike aye.
Murray, aye.
I'll be aye.
All right. Next up we have Audrey Fraser, our administrative assistant. Speak to us. Speak to her.
I'm just gonna sit at the table because
Yes, please.
it's weird.
Can you bring that microphone to the table as well? It's not really a good mic. So the closer you can get it to us, the better. If you don't trip over something and fall down. Maybe you can't get it here. I thought it came. That won't work. It's down below the table. Better put it back where it was. Sorry about that, public. All right, what's up?
Well, I had asked if you had any low-hanging goals that you wanted me to try to achieve. And then how we go forward. Should I be on the agenda and bring things to you that way? Do you want, like I asked a couple of questions in the reports I gave you. Do you want me to ask them in public? Do you want to respond to me? Like, can I get Adobe?
Oh,
Oh, those things?
Yeah.
yeah.
They're questions, they're real questions.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, a headset for your phone, a keyboard tray. In my opinion, she doesn't even need to come to us to ask for things like that.
I agree.
Okay,
We're not talking a huge amount of money,
all right,
and this is all basically office equipment or office related.
okay,
It's gonna make your job easier and make things go smoother.
all right.
And I have no issues. Chip, are you on board with that?
Yeah, I mean, we're running pretty hard on the financial administration end of things here, so,
Well,
I mean, we're averaging $15,000 a month. We got 12,900 per month
right,
left.
but we're talking, I have to get back to the report, figure out how much money the lady's asking us for.
How much are you asking for?
500,
Oh, all right, I'm sorry.
Right,
it's okay.
so it's not a huge amount, truly.
No, but I mean,
I understand. Yeah,
Bob made mention of, you wouldn't have to ask, but I honestly think we need to keep an eye on this budget,
okay,
so kind of ask, you don't have to do that.
right. Until at least we get to another budget.
And I think once I'm set up,
And
I
one-
don't anticipate any additional things
Right.
because once I'm more ergonomically all set, that'll be good.
I mean, my understanding, and you should get with Kathy on this somehow, is that this changeover on the phone system was supposed to be a wash. And we're way upside down on it. So maybe it is that we're not crediting something that should have been credited, I don't know. But or we're still paying charges on some service that we're no longer using. That would be probably closer to the mark.
Yeah,
Because it was supposed to, by eliminating certain parts of our old system, it was gonna encompass all of the new system.
Correct.
I mean, I knew there was gonna be like, I thought it was, and I'm digging into my aged brain cells, but I thought it was like $300 or $400 a month was the difference. And you just can't add up to that much money with $300 or $400 a month.
No, I'd have to see I'd have to see the math again, and that's not here today.
Right.
yeah, if
So
we can look
that's
into that a little deeper for us.
That's a
would be
thing
good.
to
Okay.
deal with Kathy, I guess.
Yeah, she may have some insight to that.
And you were gonna bring together the numbers of that.
The transfer station, that one.
That, but also the grant money that we had kicking around from the last couple of years. There should be like 50 or 60,000 bucks left.
Right, so I have not done
Is it
either of
gonna-
those yet.
Yeah, we're gonna need to look hard at that, because right now we're running pretty strong on our highway budget. It would be nice to,
It's a mild way of putting it.
yeah, it would be nice to be able to accommodate some of that,
Right.
because.
I did send an email to the fire chief asking him if he was pursuing the FEMA money.
Right.
I know other towns are doing that, and a significant amount of the gravel
Mhm.
that was purchased, and probably a few of the other bills might be able to be part of that. I did not get a response from him. And that can take several months, you don't necessarily get the revenue
Oh,
money.
it can be the next year sometimes,
Right.
it's very slow.
Yes.
It, 385.
And I thought I could also just put out a feeler to other towns and see how they're handling the overage.
Absolutely,
Okay.
nothing wrong with that.
The problem with the FEMA money, it generally just goes into the general
General
fund.
fund.
Right.
So it doesn't help as much as it could. But right now, we're on we got a rate of travel left for us of $385,000 a month. And our current month's expenses were $450,000.
Mhm.
So the other one was 286. Yeah, 403,000, so we're upside down on our whole budget, which is
Right.
troubling.
Very much so.
You know, we're not way upside down, but $15,000 a month upside down.
Right.
Does the board wanna ask departments to tighten their belts?
Well, we may have to, I think, I mean, I just got this right now, so I haven't had a chance. Are we meeting next week?
What's that?
You're gone, but
I'm gone.
Are we meeting? Okay.
Yeah.
Cause I'd like to go through, I mean, you know, the health stuff and some of the agency stuff, that's all at once. So it's kind of skews the numbers a little bit. But the department operating revenues, with the exception of the highway, seem to be okay,
Right.
so.
But if we're talking about departments, if I may,
Yeah.
the transfer station superintendent asked me why, or could we set up a revolving fund to use the monies that they get from fees, much like the one that we have for the Parks and Rec Commission. And I don't know the legal aspects of that, or if it's even legal. Would it be acceptable to have Audrey ask the New Hampshire Municipal
She
Association?
can, but I'm pretty sure what they're gonna tell her is there's nothing like that other than for Parks and Rec.
Okay,
Unless you wanna go into an enterprise fund.
right,
I'm not sure.
which we don't wanna do that.
Well, I don't think, there's not enough money involved.
No, but if it was possible, that would really help at the transfer station.
For what purpose at the transfer station, to pay for what?
Yeah.
Anything and everything, much like Parks and Rec does. It's just a
Yeah, the
revolving
problem
fund.
is that okay, who decides? I mean, currently, I hope at Parks and Rec, it's the Parks and Rec committee with
Right.
votes and all the rest of it. Sometimes I feel like it's just Dennis deciding, but that's not the way it's supposed to operate.
Well, I'm sure there's times when he has to make a decision and he can't get the whole board together or whatever, but if it's small, it's one thing.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know why the transfer station superintendent wouldn't come to us to decide what to do with such a fund, if it was there.
We'd have to do it that way.
Yeah. But again, I don't know if it's even possible, but he asked. It's,
And it's just gonna, I mean, if you think a little further down the stretch,
Mhm.
it's just gonna screw up October when you're looking at your revenues.
right,
Because although it's not a lot of money, I mean, when Clay was there, I think the best year he had was like 110 grand.
right, yeah, I remember.
So that gets added into your revenues and it all kind of trickles
Sure.
down to the bottom.
But the thing of it is then, if it was in that fund, we could use it rather than throwing it back into the general fund to support the transfer station, is all I'm thinking.
Do you have trust funds or anything for the transfer station?
Not to my
haven't-
knowledge.
No, which would be a cleaner way to do it,
Okay,
is to do
an expendable trust fund?
a warrant article expendable trust fund for X number of dollars. I just,
It was surprising how much actually accumulated And in Effingham, what they had done is, set up a fund, and I think the selectmen are agents to expend it, but if a compactor breaks, if their backhoe breaks,
Right.
and so any of the major non-operating expenses are paid for out of putting that money in a separate fund.
Yeah.
That's
We
when,
kinda have that with the police cruiser fund that we started
Right.
a couple of years ago.
because you do have potential big expenses if something breaks there,
Sure.
Right.
but
Well, it's interesting, anyway. It would
That-
be
that
nice
would-
if we could
that would just be a warrant article.
somehow, it would have to be a warrant
Yeah.
article for sure. He asked, and I said that I would broach the subject, which I have done.
I don't understand what he thinks the benefit would be of it.
To be able to use the money to improve the transfer station, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, it gets confusing for people who aren't used to working in government. I mean, I set my budget in January or March, and it's cast in stone. I can't change anything.
Right.
Some new thing comes up, and we want to buy it or fund it somehow.
Well, the unexpected expenses, like things breaking down and whatever, are the ones that
Right.
really get you.
Right. But
And we've had that with the fire truck twice, and we still don't know the results of that yet. So it's a tough game.
And we just had it with the backhoe.
Yeah, it was the thumb broke, but I'm sure I got that
I'm
one.
looking at 8/7. We signed a check for that backhoe repair to
Just the other
get a
day.
friend from Mountain Shadows there.
Yep.
And I'm still seeing $5,000 sitting on the equipment maintenance line. So, and nothing spent from it. So maybe that just hasn't hit yet.
No, it should have hit,
Okay, so maybe it hit somewhere where it shouldn't have hit.
maybe.
Because that's where it should have gone, was line 30 of the solid waste.
So that segues into a good question I had, and all of the reports that you're handed with like the accounts payable, what is the most useful for you? Because I thought, why did you get all these? And what I saw was, I printed out a report that had the account number and the amount, and it was just for me to be able to make sure I had done everything correctly. And I thought, it looks more like a manifest that I'm accustomed to, and I thought maybe I should show that to you and see if it's just easier having all the numbers on one page to be able to run down and know what you're signing.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to have that, but I don't know if we want to really divest ourselves of the receipts.
Oh no, you would still see those.
Because
Yeah, for sure.
I look at them.
these
But-
two guys
Most of
more
the
than
time.
I do have
Oh,
caught
yeah.
things.
I meant, like, I didn't understand why you had the GL reports, and
Right.
there's several that I'm not accustomed to the Board of Selectmen seeing, where it could be summarized on one report, all that information, to maybe make it easier for you. I could provide it this week and say, do you like this on it?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
And since I won't be here, I would go with the judgment of my other two selectmen, and that'd
I
be
mean,
fine.
I don't know what all those other reports do. I assumed that they had to go with the check, but if you say they don't, they don't.
No.
I typically just look at the front page of the check reports and see if anything jumps out at me.
Yeah, that's what I do too, and when it does, then I go to the receipt and say, okay, this is what they did, this is why.
I did mention to Cammy, there was one that had a statement that we paid, but it didn't have an invoice to back up the statement, so I have no idea what we were spending $247 on. I'd like to know. I'd like to see the invoice attached to the statement.
Was it the tires or the
I don't remember what it
credit
was.
card one?
No, it wasn't
The
a credit card.
trophies.
It wasn't a credit card one.
Because I did follow up on several of those last week before I put them in. I called the person who approved it and said, I want the receipt.
Yep.
So, yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
Okay.
The other one, I already talked to you about that money that's sitting there, because we're gonna need it. I I can just feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
Do you,
And
I'm sorry, were you done?
I'm fine, I can ramble on and on.
Yeah,
so-
okay. As can we all.
I have an efficiency with words, actually.
Oh, good.
Did you have any questions on the audit?
I saw it, I haven't had a chance to read it yet, because I just got it, but I'll be taking this home to read it.
Okay, so,
There's something, highlights you want to point out?
I haven't read it either, but I don't like to keep the auditors waiting too long, and it was in the mailbox the email box when I
Did
arrived.
Jack get a copy of that?
He did get a copy,
Okay,
so maybe if I can get any comments by next Friday,
right.
you could bring it on the airplane with you.
I could.
This is kind of, well, you need to sleep when you fly, so there's a good.
I'll be asleep right now, almost in a minute. It is rather dry, but it's important.
I had a gentleman come in today, he wanted to know if he could have a wedding, I think down at 19 Mile Bay, is that where your dock is?
Where the
And
beach is.
Yeah,
Well, there's the pier, but then there's the beach with the pavilion. I think that's probably what they're looking
and he thought September 7th of 2024 and approximately 100 people. And
It's certainly advance notice.
for.
the,
That's a Sunday?
of next year, I don't know.
Oh,
24.
Saturday.
Parking, of course, for that amount of people, and the public will be still around, I'm sure it's warm enough, might be an issue. They could park, I suppose, at a one-time deal at the big trailer parking area that we have, but it's quite a walk down in any kind of formal dress to get to the beach at that point in time.
It's not our problem.
No, I know that, I'm just saying,
Well-
the parking is.
Yes.
I think that he has to first make his approach to Parks and Rec.
Yeah, well, we have our Parks and
Parks and
Rec
Rec's
representative here, whom I'm sure can do that, but
Hmm.
it's great that it's a year in
The guy who wants to
advance.
have the wedding needs to go to Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, at the meeting,
Yeah.
All right,
yeah, advise him to attend the Parks and
And then
Recreation meeting, yeah, that'd be
Bob
great,
and-
right.
And,
The rest of the people.
Because I mean, I certainly don't want to make a decision for how Dennis uses the beach. That's his prerogative. No,
I guess, unless, yeah, I mean, it's town property, so it kind of is our prerogative, but.
Right, but it's a structure.
Yes,
Yes.
So if.
we don't wanna leave
I
out
mean,
the Parks and
We
Rec.
could get into the rental business for weddings and put another column on our income side, but I think
I don't know, it's a
We
public
lose
beach,
our-
would we charge for that?
everybody else does.
I figured the town at a
just throwing it out
minimum,
there.
yeah, the town at a minimum, I thought would want a waiver of liability.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yes,
certainly, yeah,
absolutely.
that's the bare minimum, yeah, right.
But as far as charging?
but there's no alcohol at the beach, so it's gonna be chem-free.
No smoking.
No smoking?
No smoking
Smoking on
either.
town property.
Nope, not on town property.
I think they just wanna have a ceremony there.
Jeez.
Well, again,
Anyway, all those questions.
advise him
Okay.
to attend Parks and Rec meeting.
Got it.
And Parks and Rec, in my mind, and you can change my mind if you want, needs to bring a recommendation forward to us if they wanna do something like that.
Right. But it's really good that he's doing this a year more in advance.
Yeah, yeah.
That's quite,
And it's.
it gives him a chance to
You know,
do something else.
Maybe this, I don't know how the summer season runs next year. And maybe it's before Labor Day.
Yeah, depending, the calendar, I don't know either. Or-
Yeah, I think he said it was afterwards.
But-
Yeah. Is the sailboat program still going on?
Right.
Whatever.
If it's a Saturday, then it's probably the Saturday
Well,
after
and-
Labor Day.
Yeah, we'll
But,
see.
okay, I'll direct him to Parks and Rec.
What's the date again?
September 7th,
7th.
24. Very interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, we probably can't charge Bob because the state legislature hasn't authorized us to raise money through our parks.
It just doesn't sound like something that.
We're not a home rule state, so I can't make this argument before you. It's not available.
just doesn't sound like something that we could charge somebody for to use the beach. It's a public beach.
Okay?
It's just,
Okay, yeah.
just thinking out loud.
Yeah. No,
Not making a
I mean, It's
decision.
not as if it doesn't cost you something to have the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And if you use it more intensely through functions, if you let one function in, you gotta let another one in. What's the cleanup cost, what's the maintenance cost, what's the whatever? Just thinking off the top of my head. Kinda like you.
I think
We're
you'd
just
want a
thinking
price
off-
structure
off the
ahead of
top.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
Throw enough shit out there, something will stick.
Yeah.
And Cammie, wanted to remind you to set a date to review non-public minutes.
Right. Has she gathered all those together?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Cause that's the
Okay.
key.
All right, I'll find out.
And then what we did the last time was they were available for a review whenever we were available, so I might come in on a Wednesday.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's, cause
Typically for me, it was Thursday afternoon.
there's quite a few of them.
Oh, yeah.
And then we separate them into two piles in our mind,
Right,
and then Bob separates them into two piles.
okay,
And we agree on what we're gonna release, and
all right.
that's how it worked last time.
Okay, and if we could just, September, your first meeting would be Labor Day. Do you wanna push it to Tuesday or not have one that week?
I'm not back till the 14th, so you guys decide what you wanna do.
You're not back till the 14th, that's what that last month means. Okay,
Well, I'd say we don't have a meeting that week.
You're gonna have a problem next week, cause I won't be here.
It'll be the two of us.
We'll be
no,
here.
it'll be just you,
Just me?
yeah.
Can't have a
No,
meeting, it's just
why,
me.
where am
You're not back till the 14th.
I? That's in September.
Yeah, I'm talking about September.
Oh, they were talking about next week.
No.
No.
Oh,
I'm talking about then, it's it,
Next
what does that
month.
say on that Monday, that's that third block there, it's,
So, you're out till the 14th
Yeah.
of September.
Right.
Okay,
Starting when?
August
30th.
first,
First.
soon,
Not soon enough.
exactly.
all right, and you said you could do, so no meeting the week of the 3rd of September, because of Labor Day. And then you said you could be available at 9:30 on the 11th.
I will be if it's necessary, if
Wow.
it's necessary. So, what it does say there, I thought it said I could be there at 4:30, cause that would be the way it is, but I will make it at 9:30, so ignore that and we'll have a meeting.
Well, do you
Bob and I will
want,
be here.
well, you and Bob can discuss it now. Do you wanna do 4:30 on the 11th instead of 9:30 in the morning?
No, we'll do 9:30, it's better for Bob's schedule, mine's, they'll do without me. 9:30. The 11th of September is fine by me.
And you won't be here?
No.
Right.
You'll be here?
Yes.
At 9:30?
Yes.
I can be here at 9:30 or 4:30, so.
Make it 9:30.
You want 9:30?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Doing it in ink.
And then everybody will be back after the 14th and we'll go from there.
And during that 2-week period, Fridays or check signing days are all.
All fine by me,
Okay.
while you're gone, that is, yes. No problems.
All right, and then when you and I spoke earlier, 4:30 on the 25th.
Yes, please.
Okay, so that takes care of September. Great, thank you.
So what about the 18th?
It's the 3rd week, you don't do anything.
But they're skipping
We're
the
skipping the
first one.
4th,
We can do the 13th, if that's what it is.
18th.
18th.
You don't have to meet every week, you don't have to make it up. It's okay. It's okay to
And
give
you
your
can
office a
also
break.
decide on the 8th or whenever that.
That's right.
meeting is.
Let's worry about it on the, whatever that is, the
Okay.
8th and the 9th. or-
So the 11th and the 25th is what we're planning on,
Yes,
and 25th will be at 4:30. And that's what we'll stick to unless something changes.
yeah, so for this month, you're out next week at 9:30, and then the 28th is normal. I just wanted to kind of get September down, so you have 2 more meetings this month as normal.
Yeah, next week is 9:30 on the 14th,
Yeah,
and then the following one will be the
28th,
28th. Okay.
and then you'll jump to the 11th.
Okay. That'll be fine.
Okay. It's the big things that are challenging.
Okay?
Thank you so much. Do you have any questions of me?
Not at the moment.
All right.
Cammy coming in?
I was led to believe that she would be, but I haven't seen her.
Yeah, I'll double check my phone.
Alright.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right, usually we'd be going right into doing our draft minutes, but I'd like to postpone that and let Chief Shigeri come forward because he's here, which is
Thank
really
you.
good. You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So activity in July is down from last year because we're short somebody, plus also I had there's some health issues I had to address during July, so I was missing quite a bit of time. So we've had the cars, so the truck, I know you talked with Chris about maybe something to do with that, so whatever's there. The new one, I've got 3 bids. The lowest was Nevo, but I wanted to double check with them to make sure it was still good numbers they were giving me. Because it was, they were the first one to submit. It was like a 30-day quote, but the others were later. So my plan is that the guy I have to talk to is out on vacation until next week, so I have to go back to them. But they were a couple $1,000s cheaper than the others, so we're working on that. We do have somebody lined up to take the test this Saturday.
Good. Is that truck ready to leave your,
Whatever you want to do with it. I was gonna ask last time, and then Chris started talking about it, so I figured I'll let you guys decide what to do.
you don't have any equipment in there?
Nope, it's stripped out, it's ready to go. And last I knew, it still started and everything, the battery's still good, and
It could be moved to the transfer station. if
we
you
moved
want.
anywhere, yep. Well, it's not registered, so that would have to be done.
Or we could do it in the dark of night.
It's getting darker all the time.
Didn't hear a thing.
So you have a applicant that's taking the test on Saturday?
Saturday, yes. So we'll see how that goes. Not certified. And the next academy is in January, so it'd be a while before they're able to do anything. But they are, we'll see how it goes. That's the only one we got right now. I did put it up on the Chiefs website, I put it on the Municipal Association. I did not sponsor the one at Indeed because I thought it was gonna cost a lot of money and not get a whole lot of return. I guess from what I've heard is that you can sponsor it, but then they send somebody to you, you have 72 hours to reject it, or else they charge you that money. I was on the fence about that. I'm worried if I miss one, then we're gonna get hit for somebody that's out in Colorado and what we're trying to call.
My recollection is when Abby Gillis
Yep.
started with us, there was a period of time between deciding to take her on and the academy, when she could ride along.
Yes, we hired her in February,
Yeah.
but she couldn't go to the academy until later. So she rode along with us. The rules for the academy is until you're certified, you cannot be alone. You have to be with a certified officer. So that's what she did. She rode with another officer for that time. We were able, the advantage of that is that there's she does learn the officer learns some things, policies, procedures, the road, how to handle some things. They can't work on their own though.
But if she's with somebody under training, or he,
Yeah.
whoever, can they write tickets? Can they arrest somebody for DWI? Can they?
They have to be with somebody.
But
to
they
do that.
can,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
they can
yeah.
do all the things?
They can do all the things, they just have to be under that person's
They get paid.
responsibility.
Okay. And what?
They get paid.
And they get paid.
And that's why
very
you
important.
don't lose the candidate.
Yeah.
But the advantage though also is that some of your FTO training, which is 12 weeks, excuse me, can be knocked out before the academy. So when they get done the academy, it's a shorter period before they're on the road.
Right.
So it's, I mean, fingers crossed, but unfortunately it's everywhere. I talked to somebody at Primex which is our insurance company, and he used to be the chief in Concord, and he's saying it's everywhere. I said, and I've asked him, I've asked others, any innovative ideas, anything that comes up? I mean, I know some places do hiring bonuses. I don't know that they really work per se, because it's kind of a kick in the face for people that have been here in the retention part too. And it gets a name, it gets you maybe some interest, but I don't know that that's necessarily the way to go either. But I mean, there's got to be, I don't know. I asked around, and there's nothing. Everybody's short, and like I talked to Bob Barry, is the guy at Primex, who's the law enforcement liaison. He was the chief in Concord. He said Concord used to have 8 cars on, they're down to 3 a lot of nights because they're 20 people short.
Well, it's good to know that we're not unique. I mean, it sucks that we can't fill the position, but it's also good to know that we're not unique.
We're not unique. It's everywhere. I mean, Alden's down 2 plus 1 that's in the military, so they've gone from I think they have 12 and they're down to 9, something like that. So it's tough everywhere, and it's not just this state; it's other states too. I mean, I know some other Chicago's talking about allowing non-citizens to become police officers, which backgrounds can be an issue and stuff like that. But some places are lowering their standards. I'm not about to do that because I think that's a liability issue.
We don't get a lot of non-citizens up here in Tufton.
But you're right, we don't. You might be surprised once in a while, not too often.
Littleton maybe.
So that's where that's going right now. Like I said, I just need to check with Nevo about their bid. They were the cheapest one, so.
Okay.
So felonies are up, or do you have one felon that got multiple charges?
A lot of them are. A lot of them are. Unfortunately, fraud cases. So I know we.
So not violent crime.
No, we're not having that. We had 1 burglary this year, I think, reported. It's a lot of fraud over. One I'm dealing with is an elder one, right? We had another one taken for that one was $14,000 in another town, so I'm working with them. But the bigger part of it, it's actually could be much bigger. It could be almost, I don't know, it could be over a couple $100,000 when it's all said and done. Another one for $28,000. There's another one, the sergeant's done several grand jury subpoenas on. Some reason they fell through the cracks with getting them back from the county in timely fashion, so we've had to get new ones. So we're working, that's what we've had really going on with that. Nothing, that's about that.
Can you talk to us a little bit about traffic enforcement?
So
we've had just as a baseline, we've had a lot of people talking to us about they're not seeing cruisers out doing radar stops.
So
talk us through this, please.
So we've had, things are down as far as people, so that cuts into how much we can do. And it's a lot if you don't have, there's some places put all their people on during the day shift, if you will. And today, I did 2 VIN verifications. Well, if I had 2 people on, somebody else could still be out on the road while I'm doing a VIN verification, or vice versa. It is down, obviously it's down, and it should be higher.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But I'm out, I know I've stopped probably, this number's up to, I know I've done 10 in the last week. So, and I just did 4 or 5 today. And I saw there was a letter about we're not on Durgan Road. We have tracking devices in the car. I can tell you we're there. We are on these roads. Now, is it the time when, are we catching somebody or?
It's 2.5 stops a month per officer on your motor vehicle. That's not enough.
2.5.
So you got, I'm looking at the numbers you
Yeah,
gave.
54.
54 divided by 7,
Yes.
divided by 3.
Yep.
You end up with 2.57, so let's call it 2 points, let's call it 3, I don't
Yeah.
care. A month, that's
Yep.
1 every 10 days, that's not enough. And I appreciate your staffing issues.
Yeah.
I don't, and I realize you're reluctant to share your scheduling with us because it's not our business. But I saw a cruiser on, I don't know what that road is called, the old town road there off of Ledge Hill
Yeah, Old Town Road,
on Sunday.
yep.
Yeah, well, maybe you pick up, maybe you get one stop out of somebody speeding to the dump, but more, at 7 o'clock in the morning, you should be out there.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm out there almost every day at 7 o'clock, and I'm amazed. I followed a cement truck, a transit mix truck,
Yeah.
doing 50. You know, it's,
So, I mean, I can tell you, I mean, I was in Moltenboro like a couple weeks ago and I saw a car pass a line of 10 cars.
oh, yeah, yeah.
It can
No,
happen.
I got past.
I mean,
it,
I'm not saying
sure
Moltenboro's
why.
not out there stopping cars either, I mean, it's, so I
But somehow
knew
they
this,
got the,
I-
I'm sorry. shoot.
so I looked up, I knew this was coming, so I looked up what DOJ, best practices and all this about problem-oriented policing and speeding in residential areas. And the thing with law enforcement, seeing officers, it's very short carryover time. In other words, you see the officer, and then once, a short time after the officer's out of the area, it's not a long-term impact, right?
Right.
The bigger thing that's gonna get speeds down is engineering stuff. Speed bumps, speed tables, chicanes in the road, some places do that to narrow it down. Not putting center lines, I didn't realize this, some people say putting center lines in the road actually makes it so people feel they can go faster because people stay to their sides, whereas if they stayed in the middle, I mean, that's not my thing, that's what some people said, that are recognized as experts from the DOJ and all that stuff, and so, I don't know, I mean, but for a long-term impact, you gotta have either, here's the thing, we get, yeah, and obviously I've looked at the numbers and like I said, I just stopped like, I think I've done 10 in the last week, so this would be like, I think I'm up to 60, this should be up at 67 now or something like that, I think. But
So catching up.
I'm trying.
The problem we have, and I'll just lay it out there.
Yeah.
They're not gonna call you and say, why isn't there no cop on the road or no police officer there? They call us.
Yeah, I get that.
You know, we get the pressure from the citizenry on us all the time about it. You know, it's like down at the general store. 35 miles an hour isn't in the cards for most of the people driving through there. Can you be there all day? No, but then I look at what Moltenboro accomplished. You can talk to them on how they did it years ago. But everybody slows down by that school, even when there's no police officer there. They've just made it a point of this area, you don't drive over the speed limit. And
So I've gone out to Lang Pond and sat out there,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen anybody going over 25. Like I saw, well, correction, I think I'd hit 26 on my speedometer. But other than that, I mean, the trucks, the dump trucks coming through, that was 22 miles an hour, the one I saw. So it's, and one of the things that often comes up is pedestrians on the side of the road typically.
feels like more.
Feels like more,
Right.
especially when you get a big dump truck going by.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
and,
I just happen to have a Porsche under my seat when I was following that cement truck, so I know exactly how fast he was going.
oh, I mean, I was in my personal vehicle yesterday and somebody passed me out here.
Yeah,
I mean, I know it happens, and I've
Yeah.
stopped them for 69 just past the store. I mean, I know they're out there.
Yeah.
I had somebody in Durgan going fast, I
And-
stopped him, and we had to go to court, and now he's like appealing it to the state Supreme Court, because we're playing like sovereign citizen bingo with his,
oh,
If I may.
sure, go ahead.
interfering with
I
travelers, so.
didn't want to monopolize.
So we've got 54 stops here,
Yeah,
and we have 4 summons. Are those summons motor vehicle related, or are they,
yeah, the motor vehicle.
okay? If that ratio was a little higher, do you think it would help? If we cited more tickets, if possible? If they're speeding? I mean, I know there's a lot of discretion involved, but
I don't know, I
the
mean.
word got out, I'm not sure, again,
I
we
think
don't
it
wanna be a
depend-
police
I think it depends on the
so to speak.
person, right? I mean,
Yeah.
some people, you know, it's not, we'll pay it, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And some people, you stop them. I had one I wrote a ticket for, and this is what I typically do with young people, because they're gonna
Okay.
lose their license for a ticket,
Below the age of
21.
21, right?
So this was like one who was on the edge, seemed like a good kid, took a safety class, I took care of the ticket, you know what I mean? And
But he got the message.
I got the message,
He
so
got
if
the
I can,
message.
if I can do that, but, you know, if I try, you
Mhm.
know, I mean, I don't wanna, you know, get the message across, you could've lost your license, take the class, you know, and see where that goes for driver attitude, that's what I try and do. And I would do that, obviously, it depends on the person, right? Some people, a ticket, devastating, some people, just I'll write a check and see it,
Not worried about it.
not worry about it, so you gotta kinda, I can't say it's gonna make it makes it any more a deterrent. Part of it's the speeds. I don't have the analysis in front of me, but a lot of these people aren't going a tremendous amount over the speed limit. You know what I'm saying? They're going over, but they're not going.
Right.
There's an argument. It was kind of interesting. I was at a class and got into an argument with the AG who does the traffic stuff about the definition that's on the tickets for speed, because
Mhm.
it talks about being unreasonable for the conditions present. But technically, and he opened my eyes to this, technically it doesn't have to be, because it's a prima facie limit. There's a 1 and a 2, and the 2 is 65/60, it's actually about 5, 265/60 for speed. 1 being over the posted limit, prima facie limit. 2 is at a speed that's unsafe for the conditions there and then present. But some reason when they printed the ticket, they put all that together.
Okay.
So when you look at a ticket and it says above the prima facie limit at a speed that is not safe for the conditions there and then present. So I mean, it was kind of an interesting conversation with Ben Mackey's his name, and he pointed out that to me. I was like, yeah, it does say prima facie, because that shifts the burden.
You get your tickets from some central.
State has to print them, yeah.
Oh,
I brought that up, I said, well, it'd be nice if they split that maybe, because now it looked kind of cheesy if I start scratching out words, like I'm kind of creating something now. So, I mean, the point is, I try and make it up, but I don't know if it always works. Some people it does, sometimes it doesn't, but
Well,
sometimes it's do.
Whether you use your judgment and give out tickets or not, that's one thing, but if you, I think these guys will agree with me, if you can find a way to make your presence more known,
You know,
that's so much, people wanna see the blue lights.
I get it, but it's also, I mean, anyway. There's, I mean, I get that, duly noted.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to something a little different. We have a copy of your letter to Chief Varney
Yep,
in Sandwich about our mutual aid agreement expiring.
yeah,
And we have a copy of his reply. Did you get the copy of that reply?
yes I did,
All right,
after I called him to speak about it,
all right.
even though he put down that I didn't talk to him, but,
That notwithstanding,
yeah,
are you gonna be able to resolve this issue by the 13th of August?
I don't know.
Will you try?
I will try,
All right,
but let me just clarify something.
certainly.
And it kind of goes to my point, trying to word this the right way so I don't create more headaches. Even without a written agreement,
Mhm.
there is still the ability to assist each other
Okay,
by law under
Right.
265, that's more rules of the road, 105.13. 105.13.1 is the written agreement between towns.
Mhm.
It kind of lays it out and makes it so you don't have to call somebody and say,
can I
Yeah.
do whatever, yeah.
yeah, 105.13 Roman 2 and Roman 3 deal with an on-duty officer asking for assistance. Or a dispatcher saying, hey, Sandwich needs assistance, tough road, can you go help them? You know, so you don't have to have a written agreement to help.
All right.
Roman 4 is that you have the ability, that you're still covered by your own town,
Mhm.
liability-wise. In other words, you're still an employee. If a Tufton officer responds under 1, 2, or 3, you go up there to Sandwich to help them, you're still an employee of Tufton Borough, you're covered by your Tufton Borough is responsible for your liability and your workers' comp insurance, that sort of stuff. You're not gonna be able to say that
Charge
Sandwich.
Sandwich for it, yeah. Okay.
There is another statute under 106 that does allow for some there's other statutes that allow extended authority in that. So those do still allow to happen. even
So you
without
had an
agreement.
agreement with Sandwich.
So the reason, I did that in 2004, and the whole purpose of that was so that we could help them with the fair. And the thought was it provided us some legal authority to help them with the fair. I found out this year, Primex says, no, you're not covered, liability-wise. If we were to go to the fair and work there, according to Primex,
Even as a detail?
no, because you're a contractor, you're a they pay you on a 1099 as a subcontractor. You're not an employee of the town of Tufton Borough, you're not an employee of anybody, you're yourself. And Primex put it,
Yeah, well, they should say no to that.
and
I mean,
Primex
it's
said no to
one thing
that.
if you go up there as a Tuftonburg police officer, and then Tuftonburg gets
Yeah.
compensated for the time.
What they did is they would give you a check directly
Yeah.
to the officer,
Yeah.
saying if it's over 600, you get a 1099. But there's no liability coverage for that, and there's, according to Primex, and I found out about this Wednesday, I called them, called the chief that I heard was dealing with this in another county, not Sandwich, and then I called Primex to get the word right from their mouths, and that's what they told me, is that because you're acting as an independent contractor, you're not covered. And that's not unusual, actually. A lot of states do that for details. We're one of the few states that has typically done it this way, but, and to me, I mean, the reason I signed it was to work with the fair, to give us some authority that turns out we don't really have anyways, in a sense. And second, or coverage.
Right.
And secondly, they don't abut us, so it doesn't really,
I know what you're saying.
on a general sense, that's why I never did it before 2004,
Yeah.
because they don't abut us, so it's not like, we're typically popping over.
And what was the
helping each
reason why Sandwich didn't want to pay the town of Tuftonboro?
other. It's just the way they've always done it, I think.
Because that solves the problem.
That's the fair, they gotta deal with that with the fair. I can't,
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
Is that the substantive language that you have a problem with? You mentioned in the agreement?
there are other issues, but yeah, I mean, no, the agreement that we had was basically, it basically said, we can act, I'll distill it down to, we can act there, they can act here, and that's that. If you look at the one we have with like Ossipee, the one we have with Molten Borough, and the one we have with Wolfboro, it spells it out much more detailed, what a jurisdictional officer is, what a non-jurisdictional officer is, who's responsible for prosecuting cases that come up, who's responsible for generating reports. Because, so like here's the one with Wolfboro, for example. If I go into Wolfboro and I see something, unless it's life or death, I have to call them. Like if there's a domestic going on or somebody's punching somebody, I have to call them before I take action because I'm not jurisdictional there. And then I have to tell them, and then I have to turn it over to them. The one we had with Sandwich was very vague about all that. It just said jurisdictional officers can act. So that's a language issue.
All of those agreements though were created by you and other police departments together,
Yes,
all of them.
right.
So this is the first I've heard of a problem with Sandwich. What transpired that caused the problem? I mean, aside from it needs to be changed, now we're looking at cancellation and all this other stuff.
So I have concerns about some of the stuff. That's all I'll say. I don't want to.
No, it just seemed, I mean, you created this agreement initially.
With Doug Wyman back, just so the intent was just so that we could cover each other going
Right,
with
right.
the fair.
But it's not as if you inherited any of these agreements.
Right,
You've been here long enough
Right.
that they're all,
right.
part of your life.
So I happen to look at it and say, geez, this isn't really worded as it should be. So that's where we're
Is this
at.
something we need to go into non-public and discuss further?
No, I don't think we can actually. It's not as.
Well, here's my question then. You do have agreements with 3 other towns for sure, and you have the paperwork that spells everything out.
Yep,
Can you present that to the Sandwich chief
yep,
soon?
yep.
And at least he asked, he'd like to see something before the 13th,
Yep.
all right? To me, then you've done exactly what he's asked for. At that point in time, whether he agrees to it or not is a whole nother ballgame.
Mhm.
But you have these agreements that work, and you're satisfied that those meet the requirements of all the law,
Yeah.
then I
See,
would,
105.13 really is about assisting each other in emergencies.
okay? But,
But this one was worded, because we're just helping out the fair, I didn't really care how specific it was. And now I've looked at it and I felt it should be a little more tighter as to the language, so who's responsible for prosecuting.
so what am I,
So I'll,
do my
I will
brother
put it
selectmen
together.
think that sending such an agreement out there and see what the chief says on that?
Yeah, definitely.
It seems like that-
And the other complicating fact is that the fair is not a town event.
Right, so,
Right, yeah,
So
so
it's
that,
not
and
as
that
if
was,
the town of Sandwich
right,
is hiring.
right.
It's some fair.
right, so that's it's another element of that, if you will. But the original purpose of that was just for the
For the
fair
fair.
to work there, and then come to find out. it really-
Actually then, who pays? Is the people
Fair
that run the
pays.
fair?
Fair
Oh, okay,
association.
so
That's what the town
that's why,
said.
that's why it's,
That's
why they
That's why it doesn't work.
Right.
I've got you,
Yeah.
yeah.
all right, now I'm.
And, but that was the original, I thought we were covered with this
I
agreement,
mean,
just
we
for that
could-
authority.
We could go on and on about this. I have a problem with him wearing a uniform to Sandwich to get money from a fair committee and calling himself a policeman in
Right.
Sandwich. No, he's our policeman. If he wants to be a policeman in Sandwich as well, he needs to be working for the Sandwich Police Department.
And that's kind of what Primex was alluding to in
Yeah.
my discussion with them, is
Right.
you have to be on their, they wanna see,
Because
they
I
asked about
think they're
rosters.
working for Sandwich Police Department. Primex probably covers them for,
Right, or
So-
some other
yeah.
Right.
insurance, but it was something, in talking with Primex, it was something that they've gone to all the towns with fairs, apparently not Sandwich, but they went to all Deerfield, Hopkinton, and Lancaster,
Yeah.
and talked to those
Rochester,
chiefs.
yeah.
Is Rochester Fair even still a thing anymore?
I don't
think
I
so.
think it
Anyway,
got dropped.
Oh,
How do you,
okay.
how do you deal with the Laconia Bike Week? Do they hire you too?
no,
You don't go to Laconia at all?
no. Although, I would say this, we did, I didn't, somebody else did it last year. Meredith needed help for traffic control, but that's another one they went to, is Laconia, talking about that too. Maybe, bike week stuff. That's right, they started talking about it.
But it's
So-
the difference between being a hired gun because you got a uniform or being a police officer and working for another police.
Right.
So what, some of these places we actually do bill through here, right? Like, so like when I do, the last time I did one at the hospital, say, we bill out to the hospital, our detail, and that's how that gets done. Loudon, what they would do is they basically, and they used to swear you in for the day, if you will. So you'd be a Loudon officer. And they covered you for your liability and your workers' comp, and they were the ones that were cover you if you arrested somebody, they were the ones
Would they
responsible
do that for anybody?
for any officer that was working
No,
there.
anybody.
No, they had to do it for officers.
Right, so they're looking for hired guns. They're not looking for a police officer. They're looking to take my police officer that we pay yearly
Mhm.
and benefits and retirement
Mhm.
and drag them over to do this work over here and pay them on the side, swearing them in.
Mhm.
And that whole system seems to be.
But that's like working part-time somewhere else. It's not,
No, it isn't. Not at all. Not at all.
that-
If you came in here, hopefully you'd come in here and say,
Yeah.
I don't have enough work here in Tuftonboro, I'm taking some part-time work in, I don't care, Alton, where. And it would be our decision, because you're a full-time employee, to authorize you to work for Alton in the same capacity. That's how that works. I mean, it's details, you do details, and we're pretty loose-ended about the details. I mean, you can, I don't know how many hundreds of them you've done this year.
not many.
But it's you set it up, you figure out when you can do it, what the.
It's when we're off.
The arrangement is.
I don't let it interfere with our schedule here.
Right, but it's your department, you
Yeah.
run details
Yeah.
out of your department, that's totally different.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying, we're not doing it, it doesn't interfere with here. That's the key. I mean, this is it, you know what I mean? That's just a little
Okay.
thing. So I will
Do your best.
Give him a copy of that with the sandwich or whatever blank in it, see what he thinks.
Yeah.
It's a good start,
Yep,
and I think it's a good gesture as well.
yeah,
I do have one other thing.
yeah,
Budget season's coming up, as you know, you're well aware of it.
yeah.
I promised you I wouldn't hassle you about performance reports or evaluations, okay?
I'll work on it.
Well, I won't, all right? However, it's very hard for us to justify to the taxpayers a step increase if we don't have something to back it up with, chief,
I got it.
all right? And if I can help you in any way, I will.
I appreciate that.
I wouldn't mind even let the officer come in and tell me why he needs to pay a raise. That'd be fine, but we gotta be able to say something, because I'm getting bombarded.
I understand.
All right, thanks.
I didn't ask for a step last year,
No, I'm aware, but
so.
we don't wanna hold up our officers either,
I
or
know.
any of our employees,
I know.
because we don't get reports and a good justification for it, you know. Anything else for the chief?
Just one other thing that's come out too. The state has released an accreditation, not separate from CALIA. And that state accreditation, if you will, is much more affordable than this CALIA. Extremely, CALIA could cost us $10,000 easy to just go start that process. If it was $8,000 just to apply, and then it's ongoing from there. But the state one is around $1,300 a year. I did get a copy of the book for it. I need to spend some time looking at it to see where we're at, because some of them are going to be some demands on facilities too, that I don't know if we can meet. I don't know where we're going with that whole process either. I mean, obviously.
I wish we did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, nobody knows, right? Yeah, I got contacted by some. I think I said it to you. Didn't I? Yeah, I said it to you. The selectmen on. Somebody asked him what were the bids came in at, and where are you at with that? And I said, you'll have to talk to the. It's in your wheelhouse, not
And
mine.
we haven't awarded anything, so we're not gonna.
Right,
talk
yeah,
about
no.
And anything that we've talked about is in public anyways, it's on video.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, I can't answer that question per se because I know
Right.
you guys are going through a process.
Not in your
trying to figure
purview.
it out.
Right.
Huh?
Not in your purview.
Yeah, exactly. So I sent them to you and Phil. I said you'll need to check with them to see what our status is with all that. They were asking the status. It was kind of weird. I don't know what it was, and it was not a, obviously.
It wasn't a builder, it was some person.
I thought it was like a construction.
Oh, man, like the publication?
It might have been. I don't know. But they're talking about did Bowen get the bid, and I said.
Yeah, and they wanna know when, who was awarded to, how much it was, yada yada.
Yeah.
Those are commercial enterprises that advertise.
Oh, is that? Okay.
Yeah, and I ignore them at the
Yeah.
county all the
I
time.
wasn't sure, and I wasn't gonna get in the. That's not my thing to get in the middle of that, so I just forwarded it.
No,
Yeah, I figured that was. I wondered about that too. If it was like a publication for something.
that's all it is. It's just they're asking you for marketing information.
Yeah, I
So
wondered.
they don't have to do the homework themselves.
Yeah, I wondered about that too, but I thought I would. Not my place to say anything.
Anything else for the chief?
No, I think we've done our bit with the chief. I think we should.
So I hope in the next week to have that updated prices, so you'll have the 3 bids for fitting the vehicle, the new one. And then it's gonna take a while to get the stuff in and get it scheduled. From what I understand, I talked with fire department, Captain Morgan, and he said that they're scheduled out. They won't schedule it until they have the parts and for theirs upfitting, so it's gonna be a little delayed no matter what, but we'll work on it.
There you go.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, chief.
All right, next up, we got Dave Jeffers from the Lakes Region Planning Commission. Come on up, Dave. What brings you here tonight?
HHW again. Revisit. Round 2, I guess, or 3.
I thought they were going to the county.
You met with the county, but I
We
don't know if
did.
anything came out.
Yes, I did meet with the county. I thought we had a good conversation.
Yeah.
And I followed up a week or so later, and was told that not this year. There was a lot of things looked good, However, they had some concerns about the quality of the pavement in the area we were talking about. There is some breakup in that pavement, and they didn't want to put it on newer pavement.
So medium-aged pavement.
Yes,
That's
mediumly aged pavement. And there were some. They basically were saying, "Hey, we're not a member of LRPC. We haven't done this before," and so there were some concerns about that. So we then, we really do want to try and nail down a reasonable site for serving the eastern. I mean, we've had our collections now. We had pretty good turnout throughout. We're not breaking. The only place we broke records was in Moultonborough. We had 317 people turn out there. And we expected Moultonborough to have good volume. Again, we have had agreement from our vendor that if we could just say, okay, we've offered our collections, but we would like, the company, Tredevi, has said, hey, if you guys can find a site, we will offer a collection at the same price for us. I have talked with Tamworth Selectmen, and they're on board for a couple of locations that we discussed in Tamworth. So we have put in a application for the Brett School up there. That's going to their SAU for consideration 10 days from now. Not this Thursday, next Thursday. So I expect to hear some sort of an answer from them, and that's looking at the Saturday, October 7th as an option. I have talked, but we also want to consider other options, and one of the things that was discussed here was, I think we talked about two potential sites. One, the fire station, and actually I drove by there recently, and there is more of a driveway area and could accommodate a bit more traffic than a couple years back. But it still might be tight there, and there might be other other concerns there. Physically, the Tuftonboro transfer station, I think, would be an ideal spot. Obviously, doing it on a Saturday would not be an acceptable thing. Doing it on perhaps one of the days that you close, it's not open to the public, maybe on a Friday afternoon, might that be an option? Or it's providing an opportunity for more collection.
I don't think you're gonna get the turnout if you do it during the week.
I didn't think so either. We've not done it before during the week, but I've had conversations with our vendor who's done Friday afternoon collection in Connecticut, and they had good turnout. And B, we asked the question on our surveys as people were coming in this year, the past 2 weekends, and at least 60% of the folks who came in said, we asked the question, would you be, if we held a collection if there was a HHW collection during a weekday, would you be able to attend? And it varied from, basically 61% said yes, and 16% said not sure, 23% said no.
And you've had all your collections for the summer? Is that what you're saying?
We've had 7 summer all our
So
collections.
so what you're looking for is something in the fall?
Yeah, something in the fall. We had been, the Tredebi has set aside the Saturday, October 7th, I think it is, the first Saturday, and the last Saturday. I don't want to do the last Saturday because of weather. Also, if there is, so the first, they could do it, they can't do it on a Saturday in September, but because they're booked up, but they could do Friday. There's more opportunity to do a Friday afternoon.
Well, we don't have any staffing at the recycle center on Fridays.
I understand.
And I wouldn't want to make it, even if we did it on a Saturday. I mean, I'm not opposed to it, but I wouldn't want to make a decision without having our superintendent of the transfer station here.
Agreed. When's he doing again? Next month, I think.
Next month sometime.
I think we've already had him early on.
Yeah.
We could ask him to come in.
Yeah, we could.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to doing it in October. I can't imagine it being done in the summer here. It's just too busy. I mean, I go up there and it's a line.
Oh, yeah.
People trying to get rid of
I mean,
trash.
and, yeah, we do have a collection, or not this weekend, but the weekend before. We did hold the collection and have for decades in Meredith, basically at their transfer station, and their transfer station is open at the same time. It works, but it's not, I would prefer that it happen on another day. But
And how much staffing was it Tredebi or whatever?
they will send a crew of 8 to 10, and they handle all the waste. The only thing that has to be done is directing traffic, which can be done with three to four people, and surveys by volunteers can do most of that, and do at our Bristol site. They do all of that, and we can bring in we can get volunteers from some of the surrounding communities. Yes, if you're working at a facility, it would be helpful. I would want to have at least one person who is with the facility, and there would need to be access to restrooms for the staff, not for people who are coming in, participants. And there does need to be a roll-off dumpster to accommodate containers that are unused and that sort of thing.
Would you take care of?
We could take care of that.
Could?
We would. Yeah. Well,
I'm not laughing at you.
in most of
I had a
our,
thought go through my head. I'm sorry, public. I cracked myself up.
Many of our, well, in our other sites, the local community takes care of that arrangement and that cost. As this is something new and different, we we would be able to take care of that at
Well,
LRPC.
Why don't we have Chris
Yeah, definitely.
and we'll.
You make a note on that, Audrey.
If we could get Chris in next Monday, the 13th,
Yep.
Excuse me.
would you be able to be here?
Yep.
Okay. Would you see if you can,
Next Monday's at 9:30 a.m.
yeah,
I can do that.
Okay.
see if
That'd
you
be
can
great.
get them together and put them
Right.
on the agenda?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah, and we did just get the final numbers in. Yeah, there were 21 folks from Tufton Borough participated this year, which is, it typically ranges from 25 to 40. We always want to see more, and quite frankly, host communities, when you hold it in a community,
Yeah, you get a better turn.
you get much better turnout.
Well, there are things like, oil-based paint has been phased out, basically. So it's there.
It's phased out,
People
but
keep digging it out, but there's gonna be an end eventually.
that's about 40 to 50% of what gets collected.
Really?
And through the program, we typically collect 30 to 35 tons in those 2 mornings. We had this year, and typically we have about 1,700 households participate. And so it's usually about 200 vehicles or households at a site. Is typically what happens.
Yeah.
We're coming in, a couple of sites tend to be bigger than that, but, okay?
Yeah,
Great.
good. Appreciate it.
Monday at 9:30?
Yes, I'll confirm with you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dave.
Appreciate your time.
All right, next on the list is I presume it's a Mr. Littlefield, but apparently he's not here yet, and he's not due until 25 after, which we have a little time,
Mr. Littlefield.
I'm assuming.
That wasn't him that was here with the chief?
He's scheduled for 5:25, and it says North Line Road, Slant Federal Corner Road. If that was Mr. Littlefield,
It's a little
I think he
early.
came with the chief.
it might be. Why don't we move into something that we can put aside usually, which would be, although it's not in the signature file, I put it in the signature file. We have a couple of current use, or I should say land use change taxes to be billed that we need to sign. And these actually get signed in 2 places, although they're not flagged as they usually are.
Thank you for teaching me what's usual.
One, you're welcome, Bobby.
Hi.
One is for tax map 41, 3-16. It looks to be that they're going to take out 13.69 acres from the current use that they have, and that would leave 64.5 acres. And, yes,
The reason for taking it out?
I've not seen anything in my reading as to the reason. I happen to know what it is. They're building it's the old Ray Bellemere property. It's the field across the street from the farm. They're building a house in there.
Right, but generally, they can only take out a house lot.
Well, if,
I mean, it's not, we don't have 13 acre zoning.
right, but the 13.69 they're taking out is more than enough.
No,
They have a
but-
barn as well. It doesn't say, I don't know what to tell you about that. You could read this, please. If you can find something in there that answers your question, I'll be more than happy to let you do it, because we have 2 of these. The next one is even weirder. And maybe I misread the amount they want to take out, but it looks like 13.69 acres is what they want to take out to me.
13.69.
Yeah, that's what I see, but I don't see anything that tells me why. I know why in that particular case, but I don't know the next one at all. It's very weird.
Selectmen's meeting.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think, I'm not ready to sign this.
Well, then you probably won't be able to sign this next one because that's for .03 acres, and it doesn't say why either.
Well,
Hey.
.03 I can live with, because that's well within the zoning ordinances. We
You
don't have
can
13
take
acres
as
zone.
much as you want out.
I'm aware of that.
Yeah.
But Chip seems to have a problem.
No, you can't. You can only take out a house lot.
That's
Like our
not,
tax
but that's
bill.
not really, no, they didn't do that at Lang's Pond Road when we built there.
I'm just saying, we've not done it that way in the last 6 years, 8 years, 10 years.
Well, the assessor seems to think it's all right, and that's who it came from. That's the best I can tell you.
Did that come from the assessor?
Yes,
Yes, he was here today.
it's in a folder right here that says assessor on
All
it.
right, well, they can wait a week.
All right. The next one is for tax map 62, 2-21, and that is to take out .03 acres. And it doesn't say why.
There's no map, so I think
No,
all
there's no
of us
map.
has to wait until we review it with the assessor, and I'll gladly come in and talk to him.
Then we shall push this until the next meeting,
Yeah.
when you've had time to talk to the assessor. We then have one, and this is a very strange one. I'm not really sure about this at all. This includes a check for $20.63. Required the county registry deeds recording and filing fee. And the way I read this, you want to enroll 93.1 acres in current use and leave 5.51 acres. You'd be welcome to look at
Is there
that.
any, is nothing in current use now? Even though-
I think so. If you look at the total number of acres, which is the left-hand
Yeah,
column there,
I get it.
I think that's how that works. I'm not sure, but it's very, very confusing to me.
Jim Clark,
Yes.
so it's not like it's a purchase.
No, he's just putting some in, leaving the 5 point, whatever it was the other I mentioned, and there's a check enclosed.
Wow.
Put it in the file.
I
All
mean,
right.
he's gotta give us more information, to make a decision on that. So if nothing else, he needs a good talking to.
Sorry.
You're very good at talking too. The other thing we have here is an assessment on the Carlton property that we've talked about. And that's estimated by our assessor at $50,000. So I would say it would be a good thing to get Mr. Carlton back in here and see if that would be acceptable to him, if we can actually write a warrant article that gets approved at town meeting.
Right. Or we can just supply him with that information. I mean,
That would be fine too. Can we notify Mr. Carlton that the town's assessor values that property at $50,000 and it's at his discretion now would he like to go forward with something or not?
Sure.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. All right, since we have Mr. Bean, our highway department superintendent here, or our road agent as I like to call him, you may as well go ahead.
Wait, is this, are you here for Littlefield?
Yes.
Oh,
So
she's
your
first.
525 is
sorry. We
here.
weren't sure who was what and where. You're right on time. Excellent. Mrs. Littlefield, I presume.
Mrs. Littlefield.
Are you
Yes.
John's mother?
Yes.
Oh, I know John very well. He's a nice guy.
Yes. I'm the mean stepmom.
Oh, he did some recording for us.
Yes, yes, he's a good boy.
Thank you. All right.
I have an ongoing problem. I tried to call
Well,
him
and-
several times and it's.
And this is perfect because the road agent
Yes.
himself is right here. You wouldn't have to have another copy of that. would you?
Yes, I do.
Would you mind handing that to Jim Bean, please? This is Littlefield, our road agent, Jim Bean.
We're on the corner of Federal Corner and North Line. We really like Tufton Borough. Because of health problems for both my husband and I, we would like to sell the house and now we can't because we've got loan debt. And we've had a water runoff problem for mainly the past year because of the way they've been maintaining the road. there's a buildup of sand and gravel, which causes rivers. It now, it used to just dissipate right into the lawn for the 300 feet on North Line. Now there's a ridge that comes down the ridge, and the only way for it to come is in my driveway, and it's a circular driveway. Another 20-25 feet, it mounts up again, comes in the driveway, and then from Federal Corner it also comes in.
Is this the yellow house?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
A lot of
And
changes
they
going.
it was coming over the road, they just fixed that a week ago, thank you. But it's already starting to fill in, because it wasn't, there's no rock or anything on it, it's already starting to fill with the sand, and he did a great job, and it's finally putting that water into the culvert. But on our side, on the corner, and I don't understand, there was another drain that you could see. It was up above the ground, about 4 inches, you could see it. I don't know what the purpose of it was. Well, that's all filled in with sand now, that whole corner, all the way up probably 20 feet around the corner towards our mailbox. And a couple years ago, they dug out the front of our lawn well, it's actually your property, the town property. They dug out a trench, but that acts as a dam because it can't go in there at this point. And so the water comes around the corner and into my driveway. And even though they've done a good job on the other side, it's still causing a problem. So
it's the water coming down North Line Road?
down North Line Road and also off of Federal Corner down and around, in both directions. It's still coming. Plus they put so much sand and gravel on the road that it's humped over and it's higher than it's ever been. So I'm having rivers of water come in. And additionally, in the wintertime, they mound all the snow up into that corner of the 4 corners. It's all in our corner. You can't see to get out on the road. When we had the storm in February, it came down, that acted as a dam, and I had a 4-foot river coming into my house and into the yard. And then it froze over and it was about 2 inches thick. And I've shoveled out sand and gravel out of the driveway that's come in, and I just had a stent put in this year. I can't do this. I can't keep digging it out and trying to save our property. I lost a sale last week because of the mold on the house. And now I called in Octagon Cleaning and Restoration and EOC Environmental, and it's gonna, remediation's about $15,000 plus. I'm gonna lose furniture, my family oriental rug, and then I have to rebuild the walls, put insulation. It's a finished walkout basement. So I need your help.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a walkout basement on that house.
Yeah, it had a garage under it before.
Huh.
Yeah,
Did you guys finish it off?
yeah. We did it quickly. We came to the town and got all of our, there's a little kitchenette, a bathroom down there, and a family room with a nice stove.
Well, I'm gonna ask the road agent if there's anything that you can do to help this family out.
Well, I'd certainly have to go look at it and see if there is something. We just did the other side of the road, hoping that we alleviated that, but.
Part of it is the ridge now on our side, the west side of the road, and so it acts like a curve, so the water comes down. It used to just go off into it's 300 feet, our property is, and there's an incline there. It used to dissipate into the lawn, but now it comes down in there, and the first entrance for it is into the driveway. But then it continues down to the next entrance to the driveway some more, plus off the road, because it's not going into the front, into the ditch on the
Federal Corner side.
Federal Corner side, yeah. So if those two could be dug out, and if that doesn't do it, I'm gonna have to put a spillway or drainage or something, or if you can, along that road. And it's ruining my house.
Well,
I'm
we
not gonna
can-
get the value out of it.
We can certainly ask the road agent to help out the road part, but if there's anything drainage that has to be done in your property, that's all gonna be you.
It's all coming off the road at this point in time. We've been there for 8 years. I've never had this problem before.
Well,
Never had.
the torrential downpours, of course, that we've
And
had
it's-
are
yeah.
a huge portion of the problem. But if they don't have anywhere to go but your driveway, then that's the problem too.
It's
Yeah.
exacerbated, but
Right.
it has, every storm it's like this.
Well, I'm sure Jim will go up and have a look at it, and,
I think the two things, if you take the whatever that is, the rise out, so it doesn't act to bring all of that water in a stream down,
sure.
and then take out the sand around the corner so that it can go down into the ditch on Federal Corner, I think that would help. And if I have to put in, I can't put a French drain in because it just brings sand into my driveway. I've shoveled out sand and gravel that is brought in. I need some kind of a spillway along the west side of North Line to the corner, so.
If you would, Jim,
They're
Well,
good.
certainly
and
do our best.
I appreciate it. They're
please
good. Yeah.
get right in touch with Mrs. Linfield, if you would. You don't need to come through us, particularly for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
They're planning to
That'd be
come and
great.
fix the mold at the end of the month, but if I don't resolve the water problem,
Yeah, well,
they'll just come
yeah,
back.
if you
And
can't
I'm not
fix the
going to
water
spend
problem.
15,000 on that, it's just,
Yeah.
it's heartbreaking. I've never had the problem until this year, so, yeah, so I appreciate it.
We'll do our best, we'll certainly do something.
all right.
Thank you.
We are home
Oh.
base, we're retired.
Sorry to hear that you have problems, and hopefully we can get this fixed for you.
Well, you know, my husband had major stroke, he can't do anything, and now
Yeah, I'm aware.
it's just, yeah, it's just too much. So
All right.
appreciate it. I
Well.
appreciate any help.
All right, let's see what we can do for you.
So maybe you can come this week, possibly, we got
Yes.
more rain coming.
I know,
so-
tomorrow's supposed to be another flooding
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, so I appreciate past
But we'll certainly
remediation
get
of
there.
it. Okay, thank you. Thanks.
All right, then next up, we do have our highway road agent and his report, other interesting things. I got a feeling there might be some good news.
I heard the grapevine.
Sorry, that was a blank.
Don't say it, don't say it, don't jinx it.
No, I'm not.
Thank you.
Let's say, I heard through the grapevine is good news.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get the town truck. in.
Yeah.
Hey.
That is on here. It actually, it looks very nice. I think it's gonna be a nice truck. I do want to confirm that it has insurance, that the insurance has been switched over from truck to truck. Would I go through on that, Jenny? That would be you.
I'll log into Primex and,
Okay.
I assume we have the VIN numbers somewhere in-house.
Yes, because they
Yeah.
had the plate switched over, so it
Okay.
is,
Town clerk will have it.
And the
Right.
old truck's gone.
the old truck is gone.
Okay,
Mm.
No change in financial arrangements?
Not that I'm aware of. So,
We have the new truck.
You have the new
And
truck?
They've got the old one.
The
So they-
chase is
The
on.
deal is
Yeah,
done.
but there's always some kind of small print that says if we find anything, yada, yada, that wasn't in our original
well, I feel like I
examination.
did a nice job describing it. Sent pictures, I said, look, back body needs to be changed. So I don't know how else to
There's
describe
nothing
it.
else you can do. I mean, they're professionals. They're supposed to look at it before they buy it.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did send
Like
pictures.
someone to
I
the
showed
citizens.
them rust holes, I showed them all that, you know.
So how are we? Your budget's a mess.
I know.
What are we doing about grant money?
Well, at this point, I think it's gone through, I do need to come up with some pricing
Right,
to satisfy,
some equipment rental pricing and that sort of thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that I can do that this week.
I certainly hope so. You're underwater right now by
Oh, yeah.
$45,000, so,
You know, we've had 3 major storms
right.
that have just been, anywhere from $50,000 to $75,000 apiece. That's not in the budget.
Right.
So when you add that up and all these little ones in between, I mean, even like last Friday was enough to cause some problems. It wasn't major, but it's constant. We had several roads that we had
And
to
you
fix.
gotta get it again, the lady that was just done.
Yeah, that goes
Yeah,
to
I'm
the
gonna
second
add that.
bullet point. Quite handily, yeah.
And now we gotta, do a little project for her on that area to see if we can, I'm hoping that's not that big of a deal. I
And
can't
it
imagine.
may not be. It might be a matter of the grader.
Just
Take the-
doing some reshaping?
Yeah, and you gotta look at it to know.
I'm thinking taking the, our wheel excavator with a greater
Yeah,
swivel bucket,
right.
and I can just hopefully go right down through there in an hour or two and
That'd be sweet.
reshape that so that water goes
Yeah.
the other
Very
direction.
good.
Throw some riprap in there, so it doesn't.
On the other side, yes,
Yeah.
yep, we do need to do that. And it's just, it's been a lot lately. It's overwhelmed us in every aspect.
You're not the only ones.
Oh, I know. I do
Well,
talk to
he's
the
our
towns.
only one.
I know that, but
But, yeah, all the other
for all the
towns
good
are
it
the
does.
same-
You're in
Same
the same boat.
situation. Yeah, I think the whole state is in that
There's gotta
situation.
be, I mean, let's clean that thing up. If you need help doing that grant information, then just say so, we'll make something happen.
Okay,
You know, got Susan, whatever. I mean, it's not that I was gonna sit there on Friday and do the equipment rental part of it, but I don't have the grant in front of me, or the FEMA thing in front of me. I mean, you bill according to your hours usage of
Correct.
machines, so it's pretty easy to divide the hours by the gross and get an hourly rate. So it's, and do they want you to get hourly rates from, I don't know, Jeff Moody or Steve
I think that's
Hunter?
what we're gonna try to do, just to see if that helps satisfy them. I mean, it was kinda weird when I talked to the guy, he was like, oh, we should be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's a problem.
We couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, he said we should be able to figure it out. I'm like, does seem easy enough, I mean, you deal with all these other towns.
I mean, you could call Coleman and say you're gonna, you need to rent an excavator, 2 dump trucks, whatever. How much is it gonna cost me per day or per hour?
That's a good idea, yeah.
Right.
And they'll send it to you.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll certainly.
That'd be fine.
That's a good one.
It's a good way to go about it.
Well, you're not communicating with them as Mountainside, are you? You're communicating with them as?
So I'm actually not
road agent,
communicating with
right?
him as much as Adam is. Adam kind of, you know,
Town of Tufton.
he will ask me for the information, and I provide him with the information, because that's actually his area of
Well,
expertise.
what I'm getting at is, couldn't Mountainside be one of the bids that,
No.
prices that we get?
Well, that is what
It's
we
not a
have.
bid, that's who we
That's-
pay.
Right.
So that's the rate we would give them, but then we'd have to counter it with
2 more?
2 other rates.
Yeah.
And not impossible to do, it's just a matter of doing it.
Right.
Um,
As well as getting the roads fixed and keeping up with the mess.
You sound like the police chief. No, I mean, we're $45,000 upside down.
You're supposed to be nice to your fellow selectmen.
No,
I have a question.
Sure.
This is,
I know that, just to end that, I know that Susan has offered him
Yes.
help, and nothing's come of it, so.
we'll see. I need, if you can, right off the top of your head, it doesn't have to be accurate.
4.
Top coat, okay. Top coat is 1.5 inches usually? 2 inches? How much is a top coat?
Yeah, 1.5 inches.
1.5 inches. Rough cost for a mile.
Oh, boy, for a mile.
Right up, something, half a mile, quarter mile, something, I just need it. We want to buy a racetrack and repave it. This is personal. I shouldn't be asking, but I am. I just need something quick.
Quick.
25, would $250,000 do a mile?
6,000 feet.
Well, going back to, you know, some of the stuff we've done,
Well, yeah.
I feel like, and it's, so it already has a coat on top, I mean, an existing coat?
Yeah,
You're just doing a top coat.
that's all I want to know.
Okay, so, well, maybe we can figure this out.
It's a little out of whack, but I have a chance.
Yeah, you paying me for this.
See, we have Federal Corner right here, so 8,000 feet by 21 wide,
Yeah,
1.5 inches, it was 160,000.
Okay, good.
okay, so
There
it's
you go. And don't forget mobilization.
25% less than that. If you do-
Mobilization's
if you
probably
do
not-
it-
Oh, no, no, it just, this is off the cuff. So, how do we deal with the budget? What can you not do that you haven't already done, for example? That isn't
Well, yeah,
super critical. I mean,
Well, we're doing the Aiken Street.
I mean, every little bit counts, right?
Yeah, so the apron paving that I
Aiken
was,
paving, I'm sorry.
yep, I had kind of already earmarked as doing repairs and pavement on the road edges where we got broken spots. So that's kind of earmarked. Do we have to do it? No, but is it gonna become a problem?
And you have
Okay.
$35,000 in tree removal.
And it's really not all there because he's done pre-work, but hasn't billed us yet.
Okay.
And I don't know that that can keep waiting because we have areas that are probably gonna become an emergency situation.
Mhm.
And I don't even think $35,000 is really correct, amount that we need. We need more than that, but we'll fall into that budget for this year. Oh, thank you. Now, we still have to do our catch basin cleaning. So I'm not 100% sure what you don't want to do.
I'm asking for advice personally.
You're upside down by $107,481 right now. So you've overspent your spring maintenance and your
Summer.
maintenance by $107,000. Where are you gonna come up with that?
I don't know. Do we not want to do some of the paving this year?
You can't take it out of, that doesn't help.
That's a warrant article,
Yeah, warrant article.
and that's got to go.
Okay. And I think the sign replacement is gonna also be over budget as well, because we.
Yeah, you already are,
Yep.
you're $466.
But you guys took 2,500 out of there that I was not aware of either, so it wasn't planned.
Yeah.
When you did the sign up at the Four Corners.
Right.
Necessary, but I'm just saying, it wasn't planned.
Well, I can say that
There are cracks in it.
that the accident which resulted in a car hitting a building was not because the person didn't see the stop sign. They had stopped, so that was okay. That part worked.
So the signs work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's this, now you spent about half the money where it says road agent.
Yep, we can,
Yeah, that doesn't even help. He doesn't have any, he got $68,000 left in his budget.
Yeah, this is
I
tough.
mean, how do you not plan for $200,000 with
Well,
the
that's why you
storms?
gotta
It's like-
work harder on this FEMA money. You can't just let it fall through the cracks and go, whatever it is you're doing. That's the most important job on hand right now, or we're gonna be in deep trouble come November. I'm not gonna say that we're gonna be fine, because we aren't.
No.
And we're looking at a $670,000 highway budget, which is significantly higher than it has been. We try to accommodate for stuff.
Well,
But the $107,000, we gotta find that somewhere. That's gotta come out of somebody.
what does fall maintenance include?
That was my next question.
If we, I don't say that you don't do it, but what does it, I'm just wondering, what does that include generally?
Road grading.
Road grading.
Road grading, and then, just,
Prepping for winter.
yeah, we basically try to clean up the ditch lines and things like that.
Okay.
Make sure that we're all good, mark things for winter,
Yeah.
for plows and stuff like that. It goes fast, I will say, especially road grading, he's adding gravel. And I think that's our biggest expense right now. Have you seen how much gravel we've paid?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, the checks come through.
And how much of that is stockpile, or is it all used up?
We go through it as fast as we can
Got
get it, basically. Most of it goes right to the job site.
Mhm.
And then if we have time, if at the end of the day, say the road graders doesn't need any more, I'll have them send a load or two to the town garage. And then they start out by loading that first thing in the morning to get going. It goes right back on the truck or whatever.
Yeah. Mm.
Well, this,
Another reason why we shouldn't have sold that 20 acres up on Sandy Mill Road. Another reason why we probably should buy Carlton's land, if he says there's that much sand and gravel down there.
I did look at that one time. I did do a little test dig out there years ago.
Yeah.
There is some sand, that's for
I
sure.
mean, you look at the amount of money that's being currently spent, I don't know,
No, I see what you're saying.
it's
Yeah, the sand and gravel add up.
absolutely, it's a
Yeah.
good business to be in.
Especially when the rain keeps coming and washing it all away. That makes it a tough game.
Yeah, it's repetitive.
And is our pavement started or done, or how are we doing on that?
So I did talk to one of the guys today, and he said, oh, where do you wanna be? I said, oh, can we be ready, for September? He goes, I think so. Let me look at the schedule. Oh, I have you for like middle of October. I think we gotta push that earlier. He goes, okay, let me see what I can do. I'm sure I can do something for you. So.
Yeah, I mean, I remember, it wasn't like 5 years ago, it snowed on the 21st of October and it stayed on the ground till April.
Yeah,
So,
And cold temperatures don't make for good binding of asphalt either.
yeah.
yeah. So I did talk to him. He said he'd try to work it in for September.
we're not 100% ready for them yet either. You know, we still have a little more to do, prep work. They've got to tear up some more culverts and replace them.
We have no choice but to press on.
Yeah, I'm just concerned that, you know, what are we gonna use for a benchmark for 2024 budget? We need to look at that.
It's just.
Well, I mean, we're so
hard
close to,
understand this.
so close to 680,000 on that number that it's even funny. And 20,000 more wouldn't make up the difference in what we need to have now.
We're having $7,000 upside down.
Yeah, I mean, that was, even if we had gone, it's not gonna
And he's
do it.
gonna spend the 68,000 on a heartbeat anyway.
Right.
He keeps it working.
We'll do our best, and that's what we can do, but.
Unless you don't do some of these things like road striping and crack sealing.
My rope striping's been done.
It's been done.
Yeah.
So it's not reflected in this.
Well, there's $3,000
It is
left.
just $3,000 there, which isn't the worst thing in the world. It's better than not having $3,000.
Crack sealing, there's $10,000. Fall maintenance, I don't know what you do in fall maintenance.
I just asked that question.
$41,000 there.
Yeah, that's stuff that we usually have to do.
Yeah. Are you gonna do one more round of roadside mowing, or is,
No, that's done.
that's it, so there's $9,500 right there.
Look at the calculator, Bob, it doesn't add up to 107,000.
No, but
Well,
it's a start.
but any we can get.
But no, but maybe it adds up to, you know, 40 or 50,000.
And maybe your fall maintenance, where you've been doing so much ditch work and everything else, that might not come in for the total amount, I can't say.
Yeah.
Leaves, who knows what's gonna happen, it's gonna be cleaned out, but I just
Well,
don't know.
We certainly don't have the road grading finished yet either.
Right.
Right.
And that's the biggest part of it.
All right. Well, I'm sure Mrs. Lochner will appreciate, not Lochner, excuse me, Mrs. Littlefield will appreciate any efforts you can do up there.
We'll certainly do our best.
And the new truck is all set to rock and roll, got his plow set up and all the rest.
Oh, yeah, yep, has all that. Very nice. You know, a few downsides are, you know, the lights are so high tech, I feel like if one of those lights go out, it's gonna be extremely expensive. All, you know, LED, little
Right.
small lights and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, they work great.
And they work.
Just
Yeah, when they don't work, it's gonna be
Careful,
expensive.
it's a brand new truck.
Absolutely.
You know?
What's our warranty cover?
Probably
So that's
not
another thing that we
late
can
breakage.
talk about. So I think we have a 2-year warranty on it now,
Right.
but we want to start thinking, and he's gonna send me the information on it, an
Extended.
extended warranty, we can extend it out so that we get, I think, 6 or 7 years out of it,
Yeah.
and then you trade it.
The motor should have more than 2 years on it. Right out of
That
the
might be
factory.
3 years,
Yeah.
yep. But, and it's worth the money, I think they've dropped the price of the warranty, extended warranty to, I think, $2,500. Well worth it, but we don't have to do it this year, we're gonna do it next year,
You have
every
to do
year.
it before the original warranty runs out.
Yeah, if we, and I think on the last truck, we did it the following year. Yeah, so it doesn't matter if we do it now or next year, it'll still be covered the same. But for $2,500, it's well
Yeah,
worth
we
it.
wanna look at the warranty itself.
Right.
Hopefully it's a manufacturer's warranty and not some warranty company, cause those things usually are worth a lot.
True.
So if it's Western, is it a Western Star?
It is,
Yeah, if it's a Western Star and you get a Detroit engine or a Cummins engine,
Detroit.
yeah, but the Detroit extended warranty of Western Star.
Yep.
We'll see.
It's worth the money.
Yeah, when they send it to us, we'll have a good look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for our road agent?
No, I think we're good. I just don't wanna lose track of that FEMA money,
Right.
so we gotta stay on top of that. And Audrey can help as well, she's pretty good at office work,
Okay.
so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind doing the work, I just need to know exactly what I need
We
to do.
just need to know, or have Adam get in touch with this office so that we know
Okay,
what the roadblocks are that we're running up against, so that we can put some effort into that,
okay.
'cause,
I'll put a note on his check for the new fire vehicle.
right, maybe we need to have a sit down with,
It'd be very helpful if we got some money from that.
yeah, I mean, if you cover half of it, it's just, I mean, something's gotta happen. I don't know whether the state's gonna do anything.
And honestly, if we were to get a check today, that goes into the general fund, right?
It depends on where the check comes from.
Right.
So we've gotten checks from FEMA before that can be applied to the current charges. Or if it goes into the general fund, we can balance that out in October because we've got excess income. So we've got more income than we thought we were gonna have, our projected income. So we can push some of that income that we got, that overage of income, into the tax rate, and then boost the budget. But it doesn't, so there are two things in operation here. One is getting the FEMA money together so we get that
Step
grant.
one.
And the second is to calculate, what are we doing in 2024? I mean, we gotta start looking at that. I know it's August, but
Budget season's on us.
September, October's gonna roll around here, and, you know.
Yeah. And honestly, who would have predicted this? We didn't have anything like this last year.
Wow. I mean, I would have rather predicted this
And come in under.
and then come in under. I mean, that's,
No, I
Just
we
take what
always
you've-
give it back.
If you take what you spent to the end of July, divide that by 7 and multiply it by 12, that's over $1 million.
Yeah, that wouldn't be acceptable, I don't
Did
think.
you do that,
Yeah,
Matt?
I did.
Yeah.
1.049.
Very funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can't see this budget being less than $800,000 in 24, but I'm just.
I mean,
Or there needs to be emergency budget somewhere for something like
Or,
this.
or run a warrant article that we talked earlier about for contingencies. I mean, and we've had that discussion at the budget committee.
Right.
That.
$5,000 doesn't get you
Yeah,
very far.
what's the
No.
point?
Yeah.
You know, cause now we've got $100,000 hole we need to fill. And then if you had that, then it doesn't matter where the FEMA money ends up going, cause you're just
Rolling into the next year.
capitalizing
Right.
yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have to look hard at bigger, much bigger contingencies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know we've talked about it in the past, it just never went anywhere as far as.
And I think it's
emergency
easier to
fund.
sell than a giant increase in the road budget itself.
I think so too.
Because people,
Well, this is.
$5,000 doesn't do much for me,
Yeah.
never mind anyone else in the town.
Yeah, I don't think we can leave this budget alone though
Oh,
for
no,
24.
no, but-
I think it's a lot of.
I think we can do better. All right. Thanks as always, Jim.
Thank you,
And
I'll do my best.
wax up that new truck for us.
Yeah,
Still pretty shiny.
We get to, old home days,
There you go.
with ribbons
Let the kids climb in it.
and, right?
Okay.
Thank you.
While we're at this stage of the game, I'd like to start. You guys go through these minutes quickly.
Yeah.
Get that out of the way.
I've read the minutes and I move that we approve as written.
I didn't see anything that jumped out either. I'll second that.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's done. Okay, signature file. We did, the only signatures that we needed to do was from the assessor and was kicking those back. So I'm gonna go to action items. We have a letter from the Lochner's of Langs Pond Road asking what progress has been made in accordance with our discussion and their concerns at the last meeting. And the best we can say is we're working on it. Some of these
Well,
things
they-
can't be done without a warrant article.
I think they acknowledged that there was more police presence down there.
They did,
And we
And-
talked about a speed bump,
right.
but we're just compounding the problem we have with our highway budget if we keep buying shit.
Well, I made the suggestion that they buy their rope for the rope line and they buy the speed bumps and we'll put them in. We're not buying any material, we just have to supply a few hours labor to nail them down.
They're not particularly interested in swim lines, according to this letter.
then,
They think Parks and Recreation ought to carry out that task. They don't want to police the easement area. They don't want to be the ones that's setting up the swim lines in that area. If any comments or questions, they can contact the town. So, I don't know who they is that they speak up, but
well then, we need, the next time Dennis comes in, let's chat about, like, what
right.
Parks and Rec might wanna do.
The season's almost done, so
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen this year.
We can stonewall and.
They've asked if they could get together again maybe on August 21st and see where we are. That's up to you two, because I won't be here.
There's no meeting on the 21st.
Then no would be the answer to that question.
Yeah. And I think they can either watch the tape from this meeting or go back to the other one when some of the suggestions were thrown out. This isn't anything that's gonna happen overnight. I don't think that they're gonna get results in a week or 2 weeks. It's something that if they were willing to help out financially to purchase these items, that we could put them in for them, and that would happen probably in the springtime. That's my humble opinion.
I still think we need to meet with Parks and Rec and get them on board with this.
That too.
Or not.
That too.
That doesn't
No.
wanna be part of it.
No, I think we can.
Whichever.
Should.
Right. Okay, we have a letter from Susan McKenna. She was one of the interviewees for the full-time administrative assistant position. And says that she acknowledges that we still need some more clerical and secretarial work, but she needs a position that includes health insurance, and she'd like us to create a position with enough hours to qualify for insurance.
Well,
We're gonna have to think about that.
Well, we might end up doing that at
And we
some
might,
point. We get
right.
to take the minutes for both of those committees, plus whatever might happen with, I mean, Audrey might, I hate to speak for you, but she might come forward with, I don't know, 10 hours a week of clerical work that isn't getting done, it needs to get done, we
Right.
just need to fill roles.
I think we're gonna have to let the current situation kind of play out for a bit. There's gonna be some reorganization, I know, in the way things are done and maybe responsibilities. And let things calm down a bit, let everybody adapt to the new way of doing things, if there is one, and then we can work on that. So for the moment, I don't think we can really offer her anything.
and then we'll be incorporating in the 24 budget,
Right.
something that we could do this year.
Right, we don't have any money. Basically, the public has to understand that we have a budget,
Right.
and we can't add much to it. It'd be nice if we didn't spend it, but that's how that would be. All right, in correspondence, real correspondence, we have a letter, a notice of course completion for Andrew Shigeri. It's de-escalation. That's pretty vague, but our chief has completed that. We have a letter from Mr. Walter Mitchell from our attorneys advising us that he's going to retire after 53 years. And he assures us, and I feel confident, that the office will be able to maintain the same level of performance they've given us in the past. Congratulations to Mr. Mitchell. I've been led to understand that he took the bar exam at the same time as Judge Pamela Albee.
He may have.
That's what her husband told us some time ago. We have a letter or an email from Chris Fournier explaining what is going on with our FEMA grant that we asked for some of the dirt roads, Canyon and Number 9 Road. It's quite lengthy. There's questions that have been answered, questions that need to be answered. But this assures us that he's actually working on it. That's a good thing. So we have a memo from the town clerk's office. This is fairly important. Basically, it says that on her last Saturday of the month, she's assisted an average number of 3 people on a Saturday. And since no other town clerks in the area have that office hours, she doesn't feel it's worth the time, effort, or the money to be open on the last Saturday of the month for 3 hours. So she will not be open anymore on the last Saturday of the month. That seems to make perfect economic sense to me.
That's your call.
Yes, it is your call, all the way.
She will be open this August, but starting in September, I believe, right?
I'll check that again. Yes, that's starting on September 1st, so if you want to go on Saturday, get there the last Saturday of the month. We have one from the Department of Transportation, and that confirms that we will get our highway grant in the amount of $664.35. And has a schedule of payments.
And when is that?
The first says here July 2023 actual payment, and that's all it says, should be $25,399.31. Still not seeing when we're due to get that exactly. And I don't know that we have.
I think you may have.
We may have.
The 25 we may have, but I think we've got the 86.
No.
And that's up from last year.
Right, we're gonna be going in four payments. There'll be July, October, January, and April of next year. We'll get the last one for this year.
That'll help in our shortfall.
Not
Yeah,
really.
Not
No.
really, because it just goes into general revenue, but it'll help us in our projections, excuse me.
And normally you have to have that on the MS 434, so you've already anticipated that revenue.
Right. Okay, action is done. We're due to have Selectmen's update. I'll start. I had a wonderful time on my 1-week vacation, and I'm starting my 2-week vacation tomorrow. Would the other selectmen like to update us?
Yeah, we had a planning board workshop Thursday night. A few potential prospective applicants came in just to give a preliminary discussion about what they want to do and get some feedback. Non-binding, non-regulatory, non-binding feedback from the planning board. Nothing exciting.
Did we report on the CIP budget meeting last time I was here? We all attended the CIP budget meeting.
Yes, we did.
And certain protocols were put in place. The CIP was interested in changing up their format a little bit. And there were meetings with department heads, which I think was a good idea for the planning, for the budget committee. Just so they can see how money is being spent. I did fill out the questionnaire from the Gopher grant for $100,000 for the Union Wharf.
Right.
And that's been submitted. I don't know if did we get a response on that at all?
Not that I'm aware.
Yeah, I hadn't seen one come through. So I'm hoping we attached our audited financial statement and our policies. So hopefully that will come through, be okay. I will stop. Go to Maine tomorrow, I gotta go to Brandeis on Wednesday. Thursday, I will stop in here and go through those current use
Right, with the assessor.
proposals.
That'd be good. Just a lack of information there just
Yeah.
doesn't really. Good.
I mean, maybe something's changed, I don't know. If you take all your land out of current use stuff. you
Well, the
have
tax
to-
collector's usually up on that. But there was nothing, so I don't know.
Right, I mean, Jim Clark's lived there for 20 years or whatever.
Mhm.
So his change in usage for himself makes sense. But generally speaking, if you got your land in current use, historically speaking, you don't have the opportunity to take it out. You have to sell it, or there has to be a change in that parcel usage. For instance, the one that Hunter did a house lot, or a house on.
Mhm.
You can take out the 2-acre zone house lot, pay the taxes on it. I mean, if there's a there's a lot over here off of, Durgan Road. Not Durgan Road.
Dam Road?
Dame Road, I'm sorry. It's like 300 acres, it's all in current use.
Mhm.
Well, we don't get to, if he sells it, we don't get to take the 300 acres out of current use and pay us that value in the 10% rate.
Right.
They have to pay every single lot they sell, there's a 10% penalty on it. That's the way it's been working for the last 20 years, so maybe something's changed on
It's
it.
news to me.
Yeah.
I know when we built on Lang's Pond Road, people bought a piece that was in current use. They took it all out of current use. And they paid the town over $21,000 for the fee for it. And they built more than one structure out there. That happened because I was working there.
Right.
So, I don't know.
Then it's selective zoning at that point then.
That may
I have a
be,
bigger problem with that.
I would very much like it if you do get with the assessor and
Yeah,
let him clear this up for us.
yeah, definitely.
And I will be available by email. I'd like to know.
Well, I'm sure you'll get an email from time to time, but.
Well, I'd like to know what happens in that meeting. All right, you can do it through Cammy. That'd be fine.
All right.
All right, because now you got me worried.
Why are you taking land out of current use?
No, we're not. We don't have any current.
I never put any of mine in the current use.
I did have
Just
some.
because of that.
Right.
There's no way to, if you die, the estate can't take it out of current use. So you've just eliminated the use of that land for any other purpose than the current use purpose, which is timber or farming or recreation or
Why couldn't
whatever.
your estate take it out of current use?
What's that?
Why couldn't your estate take it out of current use?
Because that's not the way the law is written. They take the land as it is, as it stands.
Right, but then there's gonna be a new owner.
And everybody would kill
The
their
estate is the new owner, and maybe the estate wants to build a house, they could.
So you have to sell it, but you can't sell it it's in current use. You put it in current use. The only way you can take it out is lot by lot. That's the law, as far as I know it to be, and I don't think it's changed.
I'm going to advise the public watching this meeting, stay tuned for the next exciting adventure.
A week from today, backed by popular demand.
All right. Any other things on Selectmen's updates?
Negative.
Any other business that anyone wants to discuss?
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Just so you know,
Have a lovely vacation.
I came back from Michigan with $850